So Isa, how about we just start with a few words about you, what you do, where you are, just a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. So my name is Izabela Hanzer-Kulikowski. I'm currently living in the United States. I actually came here when I was 5. So I've lived here my life. But I started with TIR as a cake baker, desperate person trying to make at least $500 a month. And now I'm an MLM and a nanny. And you'll probably want to stick to the end to hear how that happened and how that's even possible. So I'm also 3. So it's
You also
anything.
what? You're also what?
A mom of 3.
Yes. Beautiful. Isa, this is so good. So tell us a little bit more about like what was happening for you when you started, when we met, and what inspired you to join Thinking into Results?
Okay, so I remember the first invite I got to a master class, and it was from Isa.
Yeah.
And she's, oh, are you interested? I'm like, okay. And then we were going on vacation, and then we were gone, and then she kept on sending me messages. I'm like, I can't blow her off. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do this master class. So I got in and I heard your first live, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the same person. We are the same person, just living in different lives. I automatically resonated with you and your story of being raised and brought up the way you were. So I basically did the whole master class in 2 or 3 days. I did all the homework assignments, and I spoke to my success advisor, and she's like, okay, so you're ready, right? And I'm like, absolutely not. And she's like, why? I'm like, well, because you resonate with me. I could totally like see myself advancing. And it was just, I was scared, right? But when we first met, I was also not in a part of my life where I was doing the self-development. I was doing the MLM, which brought me into the self-development, but I wasn't mentally ready. I wasn't health-wise ready. I had just lost all of my hair from being sick. I couldn't walk. I had all these things going on. So all of this is just to say that it's never the right time, right?
Yeah.
We're never prepared for change. So that's what happened when we met. And I want to say that
what was the reason that moved you? Tell us about the business where you were at and what was the reason for you to make a decision?
Yeah, so business-wise, I became a stay-at-home mom after I had my second child, and I kind of was feeling lost. So that's how I even found the MLM industry. And as I was doing MLM, I started going into my passion, which was making cakes. And that was actually what was making me the most amount of money, being at home with my kids. However, the reason for being home with my kids was so I could be with my kids. And I found that making cakes was actually shushing them out of the kitchen, making sure I can get an order in on time, not sleeping all night, right? Yeah. So I was making money, but at what expense?
Yeah.
And I decided that maybe we should change all that. And it wasn't until, like I was losing the kind of customers I wanted. I was doing more for less, which actually was just burning me out. I just didn't know what else to do next. So when we had met, I was making about, I think my biggest month, and the real reason I learned MLM has such like strengths and could really get you somewhere was I was actually sick all of October. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing cakes. I wasn't making any money with cakes. I wasn't doing my MLM business because I was literally sleeping, meditating, and taking a bath. That's all I did. And that month was my biggest month in MLM history to date, like to that date. So I was like, okay, like this isn't a scam, right? Because we all think, oh, other people could do it, but not us.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, but like, how did I do it? So then November and December came along and I'm like, okay, I did it. So I was just pushing. And no matter how hard I pushed, I was like, $200, $300. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did this. Like, why isn't it working? Like I'm working more, but I'm actually making less. Like something is not.
Yeah, makes total sense. And which business are you in? Just out of curiosity.
Like which company or?
Yeah.
So now I'm with Modere.
And what does Modere do?
So they're collagen and health and wellness.
Oh, cool. No, I don't think I've heard of Modere yet. There's so many companies in network marketing. I haven't heard of this one yet. Brilliant. And so do you want to share, because I think just, my analytical brain is trying to make a picture. What was the month that you actually made it happen? How much did you bring in on that month? When you said you make it happen, and then the next month it was like 200, 500, even though you were pushing harder.
Okay, so before TIR?
Yeah, you said that there was one month when it was like, boom, I did it, even though I worked very little. What was that month?
And I made over $1,000, which I've never made.
Yeah, and you didn't work at all, like Berlin, and yeah, you were relaxing and taking care of yourself. Okay, so that makes total sense why you came into TIR. It's all the financial thermostat, right? Okay, so listen, tell us some of your biggest wins so far. What's changed since you started? And it's only a few months, isn't it? Like I think we've been together just for a few months, right?
Yeah, so it's been April, May.
Yeah, brilliant. So tell us what's changed. What are the biggest wins?
Sure. So when I first said yes to TIR, of course, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Right after making the decision, I got a phone call that somebody was looking for a nanny. And in my mind, I'm making a cake business work that I have no time for. I'm ignoring my kids, which I'm home to be with my kids. I'm like trying to make MLM work. And I'm like, where is this nanny business going to go? But it was pretty good money. And I said yes to TIR. So I'm like, I'm only going to take care of these kids until I pay off TIR, and we're going to make it work. But in reality, TIR in general has really taught me to trust the process, because nannying these kids was something that I totally needed, because I came from a place where I was on a schedule. I went to work at a different time. I had only a limited time to get work done. And becoming a stay-at-home mom, I had all this free time. I, didn't have any free time, but I had all this free time to try and schedule my business. And what this did is this actually gave me a schedule, right? And my whole thing for trying to be a stay-at-home mom was to prioritize my kids. I'm watching kids, which, if you're watching kids from on, you're like, okay, I really got to take care of them. But I'm also watching my kids with those kids, right? So I'm actually there for them, and I'm not worried about like, oh my gosh, I have to post something for my business. Oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I'm actually present. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I spoke with my husband right before. It was like, he didn't support me, but like, he didn't really know what I did. He just saw me sitting behind a screen, pushing some numbers. So I spoke with him and I'm like, listen, between this and this time, you have the kids, I need to work on my business. And I'm focused during that time. I'm making a 1-hour business actually provide income, which if you're in the MLM industry, I think like, we think that the more time we have, the more success we'll have, which is completely not true. And a lot of people joining your team and being on your team, they're not going to have 8 hours to spend. So if you can really minimize that time frame that you're actually focused and getting work done, it's going to be exponential for you. So that was actually a lifesaver. I was like, how is this nanny thing going to fit in? So after TIR, I actually was able to pay off in the first month, right? Which was
so quick. I love it.
Yes. So I have to say, like, I did ask my husband, and I was always convinced that my husband didn't support me. But the reason he didn't support me because I didn't have the belief, right? I didn't have the belief. Every time I would complain to him, it would be about something that didn't work, or I'm so tired because I haven't slept all night trying to make this business work. And all he saw were the bad things. So once I started actually, like, this is really what I want. It's my vision. I know that you don't see it, but like in a year, let's assess, right? If it's not working, we'll make some changes. We put down a down payment for a summer home, and we couldn't take anything out. Like, we couldn't take anything out during TIR because they already had run our credit and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where is this money going to come from? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this on your credit card. I'm going to pay you back. I promise I'm going to pay you back. Like, give me a year, right? Because as you suggested, I'm not going to pay you back in a month, but give me a year. And I was able to, pay pay back to our savings within 2 months of starting TIR. So
good. And tell us how the MLM business transformed since you started.
Okay, I'm literally like doing 1 hour a day. Before I was working 12 hours a day trying to make it work and making $200, $300 a month. And now I'm making like, I'm spending 1/8, 1/16 even, right? Like 1 hour a day, literally content, everything. And my average for the month is about $3,000.
I love it.
So that's from MLM. However, I'm still getting money. So I used to be in a different MLM before. And, you know, when big people leave MLM companies, they sell their companies. Like, I don't have anything to sell. I wasn't even selling products there, like, you know. So I'm actually still getting checks from there, and I'm not doing anything for that. I'm still getting checks from there. And one thing that I'm super proud of is I spoke to my my accountability coach, and they, you know, we're going through goals. I like set my goal, MLM, you know, and she's like looking at my goal, Ivana, and she's like, why are you closing yourself off to only getting money from MLM? And I'm mean, and it was just literally a tweak.
Yeah.
And now I have to say that this month will be the first month that I think I'm going to hit 10K. So with like all my passive income, all my other streams.
Oh, well done.
I'm literally have
you.
a full job and I'm still doing that. So
wow.
I'm good.
So good, Isa. Yeah, and I love that you opened yourself up to multiple streams because, but like, I mean, what you're saying is so rare. 1 hour per day, network marketing, making $3,000 a month. That's freaking crazy. Crazy.
Focus.
So, yeah. Oh my God, Isa, this is so good. So tell me, like this is just brilliant. I love it. Actually, I'm actually curious, what was your usual blueprint in terms of how much would you earn per month before you started TIR? Do you remember?
Yes. So with my cake business, with MLM, with everything that I did crafts, I did everything. It was about, I was working literally every day for like 4 or 5 hours in MLM, and big business I ran from Wednesday to Sunday, like 7 hours a day. I was making around between 4,000 and 5,000, but that was like giving everything I had.
But now you're kind of like working, you're doubled and you're working part-time hours and you're more present for your children. I mean, this is freaking amazing. I love it. And what do you think is the biggest transformation within you? Because the results are usually kind of reflection of who you've become. What do you think is the biggest change that happened inside of you in terms of who you are? Your transformation.
So I think that TIR in general has a lot of tools that you can use, not only for business, but family, but yourself. And I think the biggest thing that I got from TIR is focus, right? Focus, because I used to always, I'm a multitasker. I'm a mom, so I'm a multitasker. That was my belief. And multitasking is great, right? Like as a mom, I can't imagine not being a multitasker. But when you're sitting down to do your business and something's on the oven and then your kids are screaming, you're not focused. So you're basically wasting time. And really focusing in on that 1 hour to do my business has absolutely, you know, and I could almost say like, I do everything that I need to do for all the streams of income I have within 2 hours a day. I create content, I do my MLM, I do all my stuff. And it's really focus and just being able to make decisions. Because before TIR, I was not able to make decisions. When I made that decision to put down the down payment, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Why did I do it? What's going on? Oh my gosh, my husband's gonna kill me. Like everything. First time that I made a decision that was like truly for me, what I wanted to do. It wasn't for my kids. It wasn't for my husband. It wasn't, oh my God, what's my family gonna think? It was truly something that I felt that's gonna elevate and move me, and I did it. So.
And well done, you know, like even when we're flying, we are told put on your air mask on first. And yet I find that quite common, especially with mothers, to put yourself last, right? Why would you
Mhm.
say it's important to do this investment as a woman, as a mother, as a wife? Why is it important to invest in yourself?
So I always thought this whole self-care was a bunch of BS, if you ask me. Who has time to do that? And I think that self-care now has been, oh, getting a manicure, all that stuff. All that stuff is great. But for me, self-care is, what am I putting in my mind, right? How am I speaking to my kids? And the way that I was raised, it was work hard,
Yeah,
make what you make, and be grateful, right? Everything else was, you're
yeah,
greedy, why don't you appreciate what you have? And like, trying to move those blocks out of the way was the hardest thing. But sometimes, even when I like speak to my kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that, and I'll apologize, right? And I'm like, when in the world did my parents ever apologize to me for anything they said, But you're going to speak differently to your kids. You're going to have tools to teach your kids. Like, I'll give you a quick example. I'm very tactical, so I love examples. We had a focus. One of the lessons is about focus, what to do to focus.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I went into this whirlwind of research. I'm like, okay, how do kids focus? And I came across this article that said, you can't focus unless you're taught to focus. And in school, they tell us to focus. At home, they tell us to focus, but we actually don't know how to focus because we've never been taught to focus.
Yeah.
So I took that, I took it down a notch, and I'm like, okay, we're going to be in the bathtub. I'm going to have my kids focus on one thing for, 30 seconds or whatever their time span allows. And then I'm going to ask them to tell me everything about it.
Brilliant.
So doing this, and it's like, I can see they have questions, like when I listen to things, and they're like, oh, spending money, just like simple things like, oh, I have to spend this to get more money, so I'll use my money today to buy this. And I'm like, okay, it's just, getting that generational wealth. Like, do you want the information, everything that you've learned, to stop with you? No. And I think with moms too, we like to gather information. We gather recipes, we gather self-help, we gather all the exercises, but we don't actually do. And what I love about, TIR, this course, is you have Bob, who teaches you the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
Then you have Eva, who actually gets on a call and teaches you how practically in your life it can be used.
Yeah.
Then we have masterminds, which are more like strategic, like, I'm working on this week.
Yeah.
What are the action steps that I can take to move this forward? Let's, reevaluate next week and see if it worked or not. Like, you have access to people that are doing what you want to do and giving you quick tips. So you're like saving shortcuts, because yes, you can YouTube things. You can sign up for different courses that are free, but all those things never lead to a circle, right? They're just kind of like lead you into more research and why isn't this working? So I think that like PIR really gives you the full circle, because you can start off knowing something and you'll take out completely different things than somebody who's just starting in self-development. But because the information is there for you and you have actual action steps with the questions, you're going to be working on your level. So it's, for the expert that wants to really scale to 6 or 7 figures, and for somebody that wants to make 5,000.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to, and their soulmates, so on and so forth. So
oh, listen, I could listen to you for hours. You're so eloquent. I love how you're explaining things. You actually explain thinking into results in ways and means that I never thought of. And it just makes so much sense. I love it, Isa. Maybe you should do some marketing for us. so that we can show the world what we're actually doing. You just have such a beautiful way of presenting this. So just a quick question, because I know a lot of network marketing businesses do teach you mindset, right? They do teach you personal development. Did you have any support in personal development in network marketing? And if you did, or even, your strategic help in network marketing, because a lot of people think that when they enter the network marketing, they're getting all the help in the world. Why would you suggest someone who is already in network marketing and getting the strategic help, getting the personal development help, why would it be of benefit for them to do TIR as well?
Okay. So once again, with the whole research and YouTube and everything else, we do get, like, I think our company is one of the best in, vision and everything, but once again, you have to be ready to accept that information, right? Like
Mm.
until I started taking TIR, like that was the first time I heard paradigm. And
Yeah.
then like Paul, I heard somebody say paradigm, and then I heard paradigm, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I finally know what a paradigm is. Like before, it just kind of eluded me. I didn't even realize they were using the words, right? So TIR is going to, it's like a basic level where it's not only used for MLM business, and you can use it to scale in MLM because you're going to know how to apply things, right? You're going to know how to lead a team. You're going to know how to actually do the things like follow up or prospecting that you hate doing. Like, why do I hate doing it? Like, I'm just a loser, I can't do it because I'm so busy. Those are all excuses, right? You're going to find out why you're doing them, how to actually change them, what to do instead. Like, it's completely changed the way I prospect. It's completely changed the way I follow up. It's completely changed like the way I give value. And for anyone that's on here with with MLM, I want to go ahead and just give you a real basic example of how TIR changed the way you add and comment in stories and groups. So before I would see like a mom, with her table all scattered and her kids crying, and like she'd be like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I can't I can't take this anymore. My back hurts. I don't sleep. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'd be like, oh my gosh, I totally relate with you. Let me send you some samples. I have the best samples for back pain, right? Like that is no benefit and no value for that person. And now after TIR, after changing, like I really want to provide 100% value for people, whether they're purchasing from me or not.
Yeah.
How would I respond now, right? I'd be like, listen, I'm a mom of 3 and we like to cook. Oh my gosh, my kitchen looks exactly the same way. Go to the nearest drugstore or store or hit up Amazon, and they have these vacuums that are on sale for $8. They're handheld vacuums. And anytime your kid makes a mess, give them this vacuum and they will be sooner than later obsessed with cleaning. And you know what? Maybe it's $8 that you're spending, but it's going to give you 5 minutes to drink your coffee and it's going to make your life 2% better, right? I'm expressing and giving this person value without selling my products, without being spammy or salesy, right? Because we're all scared of that. We don't want to be too salesy. And, maybe I'll follow up with her in a month or something and be like, oh my gosh, did you end up getting the vacuums? I'm so curious. Like my kids are obsessed, and I'll send her a picture with my kid, like with a vacuum or something. And maybe she'll be like, oh my God, I didn't get the vacuums. I'm going to remember. Or she did get the vacuums and it completely changed her life, because kids like to do, things that you don't want them to touch. They love it. They love taking. And then when I send her, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad that was helpful. Listen, just curious. Do you like saving money for Black Friday? What is she going to say? She's going to say, yeah. I'm going to be like, listen, no pressure. We actually came up with this really cool flip book. Would you be open to just checking it out and letting me know, like, as a mom, what you could use, right?
Brilliant.
Would you say no? No. She's going to say, of course, I love saving money. And of course, you already helped me with this vacuum and now I can drink warm coffee. So of course, I'm going to take your flip book, right?
Oh, look at that. And by the way, guys, aren't you leading one of the masterminds, Isa?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So by the way, if you join us, you can do masterminding with Isabella. Like you get people like this teaching you and sharing these golden nuggets. This is pure gold, Isa. I love this. Serving and then selling versus selling and selling, because that doesn't work. So Isa, I think I have one last question for you. Well, actually, sorry, I have two. I have to ask you this one, because you said there was a lot of obstacles for you in terms of investing. So what was actually, well, first of all, what was going through your mind when you were making the decision? How did you flip that to actually still do it? Because you had quite a few obstacles in investing, right? Can you share with us a little bit about this?
Yes. So I remember, paying the down payment, and I think I'm pretty sure I cried a little bit, and I was shaking so bad. I think my camera fell over. But I was like, you know what? If all of this is happening and I have all of this information, right? And right now I'm doing it by myself. I don't have time to do it by myself. Like, would it be so bad? Because I always planned on investing in the future when the time was right, when I had 50% of my income in real estate, all this stuff, right? And I was like, okay, I'm either gonna do it or I'm not. And I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna see what happens. And I'm gonna hope, you know, that I survive after seeing my bill come in the mail. And it was literally like, you know, you're going to invest with TIR and you're going to have everything that could go wrong. You're going to think of everything. You're going to think of not being able to pay your bills. You're going to think of not being able to, you know, buy food for your kids. You're going to think of, oh my God, they're not going to be able to do gymnastics. Everything. It's going to just come in your mind because it's a decision that you made, right? You made it. And a lot of times we just make it and we feel it. And then we're like practically thinking about it.
Yeah.
But the thing too that TIR has taught me is make your decision and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Start asking questions, how, because, you know, we spend so much money and so much time doing things that don't move us forward, that put us in debt, that just don't get us where we want to be. And TIR is something that's actually going to, you know, you're going to learn about yourself. You're going to learn about what you actually want, not what your friends want, not what anybody else wants. You're going to learn who you want to be, how to make it happen in your business, in your personal life, with kids. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary to make a decision, especially with money. But a lot of the times, you know, it's the decisions that scare you most that are going to change your life. 100%. Like I'm originally, when I had a breakdown and my daughter saw me crying and said, I want to be just like you. And I'm like, you do not want to be just like me. Like I have to change right away. Right. And then here I was like, not in my mental health, not in any kind of health. My hair's fallen out. And I'm like, who am I to like want to invest in myself? But you only have one life, you only have one body, you only have one person. And right now, I'm pretty sure you're not living for yourself. So wouldn't it be worth investing, figuring out how to make the most out of your life for your kids, for your family, but most importantly for yourself?
Oh, so beautiful, Isa. I don't think I have anything more to add, guys. I mean, that definitely spoke to my heart. And I think there is a lot of you who connect with this. And if you feel inspired, there's a link in the description of this video. Just join us and you get to hang out with people like myself, Isabella. You just cannot fail. You're going to win with this. All you need to do is show up, do the work, and we're going to be celebrating, and you're going to be a success story. Like, this is the first time I'm hearing Isabella's story, and you're probably watching me like, really? Oh my God, this is so amazing. And I just love this. I love hearing your story, Isa. And I really hope that this inspired you who is watching to do it for yourself, for your family, for your future generations, and to feel empowered and fulfilled in everything you do. Thank you so much, Isa. And guys, we are looking forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you.